Hi, folks, with one more episode of the Supply Chain Show. And today I am buzzed up. I'm super excited. The reason I'm buzzed up and super excited because I've got a top guest, right? Actually, Ahmed Khaled don't need any introduction, right? In the supply chain community, if you're on LinkedIn, you know Ahmed Khaled. That's the way I see it, right? But just to tell you all what he has done, I mean, he's done too many things. He runs right now the biggest podcast on S&OP on Apple. I mean, he's got almost 60,000 followers on LinkedIn. He posts some motivational stuff, empowering stuff. His line, you make a difference, resonate with a lot of people. And again, he's a very people focused person. He wants to basically get the best out of people, and that's the best part of Ahmed. But let's go to his initiatives. He runs this program called Unleash, where he's also trying to help people to the personal branding, how to get the best out of them. His S&OP forecast, where he talks to CEOs and executives. I was one of the guests there as well, where he wants to get the knowledge out of people with other colleague Ahmed Hamamsi that is not available on the books, right? He runs some metrics organizations with some consulting group. I mean, he does so many things. On the top of all that, he has a job. He's a regional logistics manager on FMCG, which is the topic of today, right? So, Ahmed, welcome, my friend. How are you?
Thank you so much, Dr. Muddassir, for this opportunity. I'm really thrilled to be in your show. And out of all of this, I'm a big fan of your blogging and your videos and the way that you are helping people and inspiring people. So it's the same way. It's the way of reciprocity. So really, I'm so glad to be in your show
No,
today.
our mission is same. Our aim is same, right? We just do it slightly differently or sometimes at the same time. So I want to really, Ahmed, for the audience, just jump into the topic straight away, right? So the topic I want to discuss. So I mean, you are an S&OP expert. I have written a lot of content. I've got the S&OP course as well, which we talked about in your own podcast as well. But one thing which I'm lacking is I never worked in FMCG, so I don't have that experience. So I want to keep this conversation organic and where we almost, let's call it, exchange our notes, right, and our thoughts and experiences, where the deployment of FMCG is kind of different, or what are the challenges, opportunities, best practices. Because I've seen your video. You make a really funny video, and I'm actually you're probably the best video producer, editor, and that's by the folks. Yeah, he does it himself, right? His background is video editing and production. He happened to be a supply chain, so multi-talented guy, right? So
Thank you.
we saw those videos and we talked about you making a kind of funny angle of the interaction with the sales guy. So I want to hone on that topic. So let's for audience, let's give us a high level overview of how the S&OP works in FMCG, and we'll just take it from there.
Definitely. Thank you for this question. And let me just revert back to FMCG. What does it mean by FMCG? It's fast moving consumer goods. So the pace inside the fast moving consumer goods, it's very fast. Always, if you think about it, companies that they are managing thousands of SKUs with thousands of retailers with hundreds of suppliers and materials, it means that the speed of communication should be very high. And I'll tell you from a real background and experience inside the FMCG, the only difference, SA&OP, it's the same concept, the same process. It should be applied everywhere, whatever the industry, whatever the environment, whatever people, it's the same concept. But the only thing that makes the FMCG different, it's the speed of the communication. Because by default, S&OP, it's a monthly cycle, right? So
Yes.
managing the demand or freezing the forecast without understanding what's going on, it doesn't work anymore, because this will cost you a lot. It will cost you sometimes service level issues, which by default will affect your top line sales. At the same time, also it will cost you some obsolete stocks, inventory overstock, and this will cost the total organization a lot. And especially if I'm talking about the speed of communication, we are working in a dynamic companies, right? So whatever companies that they're moving with a baseline, I could say that most FMCG, because of their challenges in the market from competition, so you will see that most companies, they are moving in a baseline of 30 to 40% from the total sales.
Mm-hmm.
So it means what? It means that the phasing of the promotions, the phasing of the activities, it really matters inside the S&OP. It's not about the statistical models that most demand planning or most organizations, they try to focus on the total sales.
Mm-hmm.
But when you want to drag down and you want to go into details and move in the right way, you have to understand what is your baseline and how did you generate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying it with a loud voice. If you're talking about a company that's moving by 30% baseline and 70% as a promotional intensity, it means that all the forecast errors that you would have, it will not be helped by just moving and coming back to the history. Because of what? Because the phasing of the promotions, it will matter a lot. I'll give an example. Like we have it in FMCG. You will see that some retailers that they're working a month in, month out. So what do I mean by month in, month in? It means that you can give like a total promotion on the full volume inside 1 month. Okay, and you will not give the same support next month. So you will see that the trend of the history itself, it's up and down, up and down. One time I sell like 3 million, 4 million, and one time I don't sell anything almost. So when you look at it from a top view, you will see, okay, guys, this trend, it means it's seasonal, month in, month out. MashaAllah, no, it doesn't mean like this. It means that there is many things that could influence the demand. One of them inside the FMCG, it's the promotional intensity and the phasing. So the quality discussion that I keep saying it's the quality discussion inside your business meetings inside the S&OP, how you will be able to just have your baseline and talk about a quality communication inside the S&OP with the phasing of the promotions. This is one thing, and I keep saying it, one of the success factors inside the FMCG, it's the speed of communication. Speed of communication, because you're in a dynamic way. Every day you have something new. Every day you have something new from a retail side or on shelf. Sometimes the competition is giving too much promotional intensity, which will affect your sales if you don't give some promotion or if you don't attack the same way. So again, clarity, communication, and being authentic. This is one of the success factors inside FMCG and the S&OP.
No, so very good explanation. There's two things come to my mind when you were doing. The one thing that you talked about, this 30% base and 70% promotion, right? And just if you reflect on the theory of the S&OP, that means your history is not really the true reflection of we call it unconstrained demand, right? Because you have contaminated that with your promotions, right? Because you've induced variance, as you mentioned in your data. So how you know which is your unconstrained demand and which is not induced by promotion? So how do you know that?
Definitely. Okay, let's just put it in two ways. So if you're talking about unconstrained demand, what is the difference between unconstrained demand and constrained demand? Unconstrained demand, whatever you are dreaming about, right? And constrained demand, whatever you have a gap inside because of supply, could be logistics, could be capacity, could be material, whatever in that side. But most pitfall that most companies fall in it, that they look into the unconstrained as a forecast, not a demand. What do I mean here? That I say that I will be able to sell 100, right? But actually, inside this month that I would have, I had like 90, just or as a cases, 90 cases, let's say, not 100. So it means that my unconstrained demand is 90, and the unconstrained forecast is 100. So I have like a bias of 10, right? So what do I mean here? If you're talking about the promotion and the baseline itself, if we come back to the same question, so part of the pitfalls, again, that most S&OP fall in it, it's not taking into consideration the service level hits. So when you come back to the history itself, you will see the trends like this, right? But what does it mean that if I have trend like X and I have like a service level hit with Y? This should be added into your incremental unconstrained forecast next time, because if you're working with a company like make to order, so we don't have any safety stock at this time, so you'll be able to have all the time the constrained trends. if you don't add it up the service level into your consideration.
Good.
So these kind of things should be taken into consideration, especially if you're talking about the order cycle, and service level should be added to your demand. This is one of the pitfalls that we have.
Right. I was talking about this whole point of sale trigger to capture the demand, right? How much helpful that is to understand the demand patterns.
Definitely. So it's all, if we come back to the same concept, it's all about, the strategic alliance with you and your customer. And let's come back. If I have the data of a customer that it doesn't represent anything for my demand, so what will be the aim from that into my demand? How it will help me just at the end of the day? How it will help my business? Will it help me in increasing my top line sales? It helped me in just reducing my inventory, because I will work like a demand management total end-to-end cycle. So we will move from dysfunctional, I would say, supply chain into an integrated supply chain. So we have the full visibility from the customer or the retail, a distributor, and even manufacturer side. So you're not working anymore on the forecasting the methods. So my advice is, if you're talking about point of sales, the first question that will come into your mind, and especially in that, why I am willing to have paying for a point of sales or electronic point of sales with a retailer? What is the contribution on this? What is the cost inside my business, and what will be the benefits? For example, I give you like an example. I do remember like 3 years ago, Walmart came back with P&G, and they did like a strategic alliance, because if you come back, Walmart is a biggest customer for P&G, and at the same time, it's from the other way. P&G, it's a big supplier for Walmart, so they come into like strategic alliance. They moved from a dysfunctional, like I said before, dysfunctional supply chain into an integrated supply chain. They integrated the whole cycle into it. They agreed on their inventory policies. They even agreed on the way of integrating their system using the CPFR, as we spoke before, collaboration planning, forecasting, and replenishment, whatever methods that they use. And at the end of the day, you'll see both benefits. It's not one benefit, both benefits for their businesses. Walmart, they improve their on-shelf availability and distribution challenges for all P&G SKUs. And at the same time, also, the speed, as I said, the speed of communication, because of Walmart is a big retailer for P&G, they come into a point that they are always in a state of mind that they can respond quickly from into in their total ecosystem and supply chain. So it's all again about the willingness and what will be the cost and benefits if I'm paying for this, or am I willing to invest in this strategic alliance? What will be the benefits for my business? As I said, the point of sale for a small retailer doesn't happen anything. It will not help me for anything.
Perfect. So now move on. Let's talk about top 3 challenges. I know there's plenty of them, but if you say, based on your experience, you say, let's focus on these top 3 challenges, what you would pick?
Capabilities. If I'm talking about one of the challenges that I see, it's all about capabilities.
Whose capabilities?
Most people, most functions, because I come back, I had like a post 2 days ago about companies. They projected to have in 2021 spending like $4 trillion in their information technology. And they spend a lot even in their market investments or marketing expenses. But when it comes to people capabilities or enhancing people understanding or just fixing behaviors inside their business, they don't invest in anything. Just relatively, I'm talking relatively. So one of the challenges, when you see people inside one organization, everyone has a personal interest and it's hidden. They have like a cognitive bias. Everyone is working just for his own interest inside sales, because he is, at the end of the day, when he will have like appraisal, regardless, I'm talking about executive, I'm talking about senior managers, I'm talking about juniors, I'm talking about fresh. It's the same gut cascaded like this. Everyone is working in the personal interest. So if you have this kind of attitude and mindset inside the organization, telling you S&OP will never work. It will never work. So once you have the capabilities at all levels, people, they understand, they work all together, they work hand to hand, they stay on the same table, they're very clear, they are very disciplined, committed about their business strategies, and all about also the leader of the full organization. CEO, I'm telling it very loudly, CEO, MD, whoever who's owning the full business or the business unit itself is playing an important role. You will see the flow of spirit inside one room when you go inside executive S&OP. And when you come inside the executive S&OP, just 2 minutes, you will understand what is happening inside the S&OP, and is it that the business is going in the right way or not, from the spirit inside the team. Okay. Because I know this challenge.
We know that. I think you are absolutely right. And I think what is sad for me is a lot of business I work with, the successful S&OP organization have executive review, and a lot of organizations I work with, they just talk about it. They don't even have executive review, and what happened? They die. The S&OP dies. Simple as that. And then it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which is work as a collaborative business process, cross-functional, finding balance between demand and supply. Anyway, we know that. Okay, second one. First capability.
Yes.
Second.
The second one, it's communication.
Communication. Okay.
I like to speak about
C's.
Yes, communication, because the speed also of communication. As I said, it matters even whatever industry, but I'm talking about FMCG because it's in a higher pace. But communication, it's very essential. Communication, not only, I mean that it's skill, the communication of the demand. Right. For instance, I'll give you an example. If I know that this month, inside the month that I have it, I planned for an activity, okay? And it doesn't work. I know that there is no sellout from the retail side, and it doesn't work. What I will be able, if I have a sale, if I am a salesperson, and I'm the voice of the customer, I'll come back to speak with the supply chain, and I say, guys, this will never work. What will happen is, if you have anything in the pipeline, or if you have this in your ordering cycle, take it into consideration, because this will affect definitely the inventory. And also in the other side, if I have unplanned activity, I know, because there is a competition, I know that I will give offline promotion out of my forecast. And I know that inside the month, like say the second week, I can always speed of communication. I can come back and speak to the supply chain guys. If you this unplanned promotion is coming, and this will have an incremental sales, so can you please take into consideration this will be your cycle stock? So order more, because this will affect me in the short term by next month. It depends for sure on the cumulative lead time from the ecosystem of supply chain. But the speed of communication, it's playing an important role inside it. That's why I say communication, it's very essential.
Third one,
if you're talking about challenges, right?
Yes, we are still on challenges.
Okay, accountability. I love to say, because S&OP, Dr. Muddassir, and I do remember when we had our podcast together, it's all about people. It's all about people. It's all about the communication, accountability, discipline, everything. You will come back, you will find that it's people. It's not about technology. It's not about only the process itself. It's about people.
It's change management, right? But that's
exactly. So accountability, what do I mean here? That everyone should be accountable for his function and understanding the whole cycle in the business S&OP.
Sure.
Again, if you come back, you will see that some of the challenges that you have, that everyone is playing the blame game inside the S&OP. Everyone knows how to play it very well inside. But when it comes to taking a real accountability, that this is my business. And I keep saying this, the most successful S&OP is when you have, they have entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial mindset. No one will say, no, this is out of my scope. This is out of my function. I will not do this. And you'll see in the corridor talks that the same spirit is conveyed to their people. So don't help this. It's not our responsibility. You can give it, let them work. You will see this kind of attitude, which definitely affecting the whole cycle and the whole business.
Perfect. So capability of people, because they don't have capability, they cannot run. Then you talk about communication, all the C's, clarity, speed, and all that. So that's perfect, because all about communication, to be on the same page, to agree on one number, to agree one goal, the one version of the truth, as we say. Accountability. If there's no accountability, then it's all wishy-washy. She said, he said, Mickey Mouse, like that.
Exactly.
It's not going to work, right?
Yes.
So we totally aligned. Thank you for summarizing. And I'll took a note on your this entrepreneurial spirit. Again, is more like entrepreneur/entrepreneur. So that was, I think,
exactly.
Good organization, they do that. But I also seen this. Most of the businesses are run by control freaks, and this is where entrepreneurial people like you and me doesn't do very well. You know what I mean, right? When they work like my way of highway kind of vice president, entrepreneurial spirit dies. Anyway, that's we are not here to criticize people, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so let's talk about top 3 challenges.
Top 3 challenges.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about just moving. I'll tell you the first challenge that they have. Technology. Okay. Technology. I see from a real on ground and experience that most organizations, they move to technology and they don't know why. Okay, for S&OP, they think that technology will help them override all people challenges. And if you can see, just reflect back, and if you come back again, people or the organization are willing to pay too much for technology, but they don't pay for their people. So the first challenge that they have, they could have the best technology, okay, and at the same time, their people are broken. So it's redundant, it's obsolete technology. Because again, if you come back, just reflect, whatever technology that we paid off, what will be in the other side as a benefit? What will help us? Does it help us in increasing our availability? Does it help us in increasing our service level? Does it help us to optimize our inventory? Does it help us to have a collaboration? Does it help us to have a real-time data, which we were speaking about the speed of communication itself? Does it help us? Does it help us? So these kind of questions, nobody mostly asking it. Just I paid for subscription, I would say technology, whatever software or whatever technology that it's been used, and I keep paying it, keep paying it, and nobody take the accountability about this. So technology, it somehow it's draining the energy of the company. It's not it's not a mean to help the company. So I see it's a challenge.
Very good, and I totally resonate with that, right? But I'm working on SCMC. On SCMDOJO, you know what we do? We try to help people and this is one of the vision, you know, we're talking about, you know, I want to democratize, make the supply chain knowledge and solutions available for everyone. That's our tagline, right? Supply chain knowledge solution for everyone. That means if you are in Philippines, India, UK, Japan, wherever you are, whatever your capacity is, you should be able to benefit from it. Okay. And as you mentioned, the tools are super expensive. You know, people make it out technology, but people like me who has worked in S&OP, you know, I worked for 12, 13 years in 4 different businesses. So you have, we talked about the things like capability of people, communication, accountability. All of that do not need a software, right? You can run a very successful S&OP in Excel, right? Okay, it gets complicated, right? Over the period of time, when you have 3 years data, multiple scenarios, right? You want to play with it, want to over it. I'm not debating that it doesn't get complicated, but there are easier solutions available. You don't have to go and spend $300,000 to buy a kit, which actually only 2 people know. And what happened? The 2 people, they got to do the fancy training.
Exactly.
They leave the business and they work for the same software providers after 18 months time. Become a consultant. And then nobody knows what to do. And then people blame software, not that you haven't really
really
invested the people, right? So we on the same page, yeah. So what I'm thinking here, and let's be creative for a minute, that if to run, so for example, to run S&OP, you need 5-step process training. That's what you're doing on your podcast. I'm doing on my courses and blogs. You need a forecasting tool. There is a lot of good forecasting tool. I'm trying to create one on SCMDOJO based on Python, based on free library available. And you just run your basically forecast on whatever time series model. And then basically you can do in Power BI. Power BI is also freely available to create a dashboard, right? and then you can run your S&OP. So my advice to people is start cheap and cheerful, focus on the process, standardize the process, which I call it processization. I mean, there's no English doesn't have this word, and I think they should have this word. I call it processization. That means you have to make the process first before you go to technology, right? So
Exactly.
this is my thought process. I mean, do you agree?
Yes, yeah, 100%. And I kept saying this, doctor, that people are not buying the most fancy or complicated tools or technology. People are just buying the tools that they can easily understand it. And I keep saying this, that most companies, they are looking for complicated, very fancy tools. And when you come into reality, you'll see that they are using only 20% or 10% from their features. So at the end of the day, the cost versus benefits, yes, and how much you will utilize. So if I'm a small company or just a medium scale company, and I go for a complicated software and it doesn't add anything for my business, it's an obsolete. At the end of the day, it's redundant for me, right? But if I'm talking about like a small business and medium business, I need to buy something that will help me to grow my business at this scale. But just don't pay for technology that you will not use. And I see it from real background and experience. It doesn't make sense.
So technology is one. Give me short and sweet last two.
Willingness. I would say the willingness to have an alliances, really. And the old way of mindset for organizations to have like they're working in silos. Sometimes I see from many examples. I don't want to mention names, but I'll give you examples.
Willingness to have, we can do whatever we want. Who gives a shit? Let's mention it.
Okay, it's strategic alliance between companies itself. Right. So I'll give you an example, like a distributor, or just you have a third-party distributor, okay? And one of the challenges, which is most distributors and most companies, they have the supply chain cost, right? And one of the challenges is the logistics cost. And when it comes to the 3PL, you will find that the rates, talking about, they will have your minimum, let's say, storage positions, number of pallets, or whatever cases that you would have on that point. Sometimes that your business cannot be affordable to work like a 3PL like this. You got my point? Because their requirements, it's higher than your business. So what you can do, I see a company did like this with another strategic alliance. They're competitors, okay? And they work together because they want to avoid all the kind of economy of scale. So they are working with a very reputable distributor, and they merge their business together, or the volumes together, to be distributed from the same distributor, but working for sure with a right policy, a strategic alliance, and had this kind of contracts. And at the same time, they both benefits. And distributor also benefits. So both benefits, I mean that they are reducing or optimizing their distribution cost. And at the same time, they're working with a very hardship distributor that can distribute to very small retailer that they expand their business. So these kind of things, which is strategic alliance, should be there. Understanding it's not only about with your competitors, but even with your retailers, with your distributors. Right. So strategic alliance, I think it's one of the biggest challenge.
Last one.
So I come back to the same thing, which is the leadership. Leadership. It's all about leadership. Coming back to the leadership. Don't blame anything except the captain of the ship. Yes. So it's all about leadership inside the S&OP challenge.
This is fantastic. So Ahmed Khaled, what's coming next? Because I know you do a lot of things, a lot of podcasts. So what's happening with Ahmed Khaled? What's happening next? So tell the people, right?
Definitely. So I have many things I'm working with. As I spoke before, it's my podcast. The podcast, I'm working on it to expand it. And our vision, it's not only just to have a small life. We need to have an impact in people's life globally. That's why our podcast, it's a global S&OP community. We started to have more network and expanded globally. we started to have amazing people is coming in the way. For sure, you were one of them, Dr. Muddassir, and it was a pleasure having you on the show. We started to have great CEOs with very well-known companies, just to share with us their amazing experience with our audience. Because again, the most beautiful thing in my life, and I'm blessed with, when I see people around me, their life changed because of one word, one story, and one experience that will let them, be curious to get more information. That's why we said this. It's not about the theories, it's about our stories. And our slogan inside our podcast, it's knowledge you will not find in books.
Yeah.
That's why we are keeping moving and moving and expanding again to another level. It's not about podcasts, but we are building amazing community, which we will declare it in the way very soon. And our vision is unlimited. As long as we are in the way, we're learning, we're trying to leave more impact. So it's a lovely journey, and we are just enjoying it every day when we have a breath and see people around us, they're changing.
Yeah. I think, as we talked about here, it's this passion, and this is amazing what you just said, and not many people actually have it, right? And I think your method of storytelling, especially in our supply chain community, not many people do it anyway. So what you do is pretty unique in that sense, because most of the people, they talk about trucks, freight, ocean freight is going up, and okay, this all valid is fine. Again, talking about technology is good. I mean, I love technology. I talk about technology. I'm writing a book on supply chain digitalization, which will be published next year. And of course, I'll be needing your help to
Please
promote that as well. But it's all good. But it all eventually comes down to the people, and this is where that's what we're talking about in your podcast in SCMDOJO, that how we can help people to improve their skills, their knowledge, inspire them, which is something simple, which make them better, because that is essentially, for me, it's like a karma. I mean, nobody pays you, right? Nobody pays for the cost, and you still get up. You have so many things to do. You still do it. You got to be crazy enough to do it, right? Okay. So for me, nobody pays me, and we are helping people out, right? So since nobody's paying us, the only reason left for us to do what we do is this, because we love what we do, right? We do what we love, and we want to make sure that message passes through.
Definitely.
Ahmed, man, seriously, you are inspiration to a lot of people, for sure. What you do on LinkedIn,
thank you, Doctor.
Your initiative is absolutely fantastic, and we have plenty of interactions. We haven't really met, which I'm sure we will meet very damn soon. If you come to Dubai,
definitely,
I'll come to Riyadh.
Definitely.
I was supposed to go to next month, but my passport is expiring.
Please let me know. I'll be waiting.
And so I'm looking forward to meet you. I'm sure we will talk again at some point. But thank you for coming up, and I really enjoyed our conversation.
It's a pleasure, Doctor, again, and I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be in your show. You are an amazing person, and I'm sure with what you're doing and the next step that you had in your life, which is, I think, it's not very rare people that they can take such a decision. I'm telling you are in a new way and a new track. And with your mindset and your attitude, you will be able to attract many people that they want help with your capabilities and your skills. So keep impacting, keep inspiring, and keep moving forward.
That's what we're going to do, mate. That's what we're going to do. Again, guys, thank you very much. This is our episode with Super Ahmed Khaled. Go and follow him as well. If you have not done, you're missing out on a lot of things. As we always say in our show, keep it simple and keep it real. Take care. Ciao. Bye.
Thank you.
So if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments below.